Hello, welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, here with another amazing guest today. I had the pleasure of meeting her at the CLA Global Summit, and she has an intriguing gift that was blessed to her that we want to bring to this community, and just understanding our identity, empowerment, all that good stuff that we do here at Building a Leadership Mindset Podcast. But first, we're going to give it up for our sponsors, Jose Escobar with the Connected Leaders Academy, as well as Patrick Rude with the Digital Secret Society, and Julia Noah with Breathe Capital Planning. Like, I can't speak today, but we are going to get through it. So if you want to know about our sponsors or what BALM Global has going on, definitely connect with us on our website at www.buildingaleadershipmindset.com. And if you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff, because again, we are bringing you entrepreneurs in this space, real life people with real life stories, going through a journey when they finally decided to say, hey, I am ready for the next step, and I am going to step into my purpose on purpose, and I am going to help others reach their goals. So without further ado, we have Amy Janece, is an image consultant and wardrobe stylist, specializing in empowering entrepreneurs, speakers, and professionals to look and feel your best by utilizing colors that make you truly seen for who you were born to be, not the world molded you to be. She believes that you are a masterpiece and deserves to frame yourself as such. She blew my mind when I had the privilege of having a virtual coffee with her, getting to know her, her story, and how she helps speakers, authors, coaches, anyone that's getting on a stage in front of people, and how to demand their presence in their space. And I absolutely love it. Without further ado, let's get her right on here. Amy, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you today? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You are absolutely welcome. Thank you for now joining the BALM Global Podcast family. Super excited. You're going to be in our top 200, which we will be celebrating like in a month once we have all of those. Every 50 members that we interview and bring their stories onto our platform, they are given another week of love from us, where we are re-highlighting you, resharing who you are and what you're doing, and how far have you come from the time of being here till then. So just wanted to let you know about that. So happy to have you. So we met at the CLA Global Summit. I think we had like a split moment to chat. There was a lot of moving parts. Just tell us really quick what your experience was there before we get into your story.
Oh my goodness. So I was brand new to the CLA world when I went to that event. I was invited like 8 days before, had never heard of this particular community, and my mind was blown. I was completely welcomed with open arms. Everyone I had a conversation with was empowering and positive, and
I'm not sure if we lost Amy and what the connection is. I know she's on the West Coast, so um, the signal may be lost. So we'll give it about a moment to get her back on here. Hey.
Hello.
It is okay. I just kept it recording because if I didn't, I would have to actually
Start
um
all over.
start all over. So I would have to send you a new link. But no worries. It's a big time gap. I could just crunch it up. I'm just gonna mark the time about 8 minutes, and we can start. And then I'll just I'm gonna re-ask you the question.
Okay, that works. I was like, what happened? I think
It
my
is.
internet.
It's okay. I get it all the time. That's why I do it on my phone. Um, all right. So tell us about, we met at the CLA Global Summit. Us about how that experience was for you.
So I had learned about the CLA community like 8 days before the summit when I was invited, and I knew nothing at all about the community, the event, like going into it. I did a little bit of research, but I didn't really know anyone there. And I can say I was welcomed with open arms. Everyone that I met, I had a wonderful conversation with. I felt very welcomed and empowered, and it was just a positive place to be surrounded by other entrepreneurs who are making positive changes in the world. So I absolutely loved my experience.
Amazing. Yes, I have been with the Connected Leaders Academy. Like 4 months after it kicked off, January 2022, I jumped in May, and my first conversation with Jose, I was like, okay, I'm in. Let's do it. And it's been 2 years later, and it has been absolutely phenomenal. But tell us quickly, well, not quickly, tell us about your journey and a little bit about your background and where you are today.
Okay, so I've mostly been an entrepreneur like my entire adult life. There's a few years that I worked in the brick and mortar world, finishing raising my kids and whatnot. I had a trucking company with my ex for 12 years. I did everything except drive. Um, I have been a freelance writer and ghostwriter for over 20 years. So lots of books and stories and things that I've written that I can't even share and tell you about. Um, Basically, I spent most of my life hiding. Um, a few years back, I wanted to get back into writing, and I ended up getting linked up with someone and working for a couple of their companies, doing all the things behind the scenes. I wasn't even writing for them. That's what they brought me on for. And then they learned that I picked up things quickly and I could adapt. So I ended up doing a lot of different things behind the scenes, helping run virtual events, even in person events, just all of the random things to help a business run, right? Especially a virtual coaching practice. And what I ended up doing was deciding it was time for me to release a novel in my own name. So as I went through that process, I ended up at a speaker retreat to support a friend. I know this sounds like it doesn't fit together, but stick with me for a minute. At this speaker retreat for my friend, there was an image consultant there. And I went ahead and had her do my colors or do the color assessment because I had just released my novel. I was like, oh, if I do book signings or author photos, like it makes sense to have a professional, kind of give me that idea of what I should be in. I had no intention of changing anything else. Um, After she typed me, which she uses the elements, she typed me as a fire, which I was like, yeah, you're wrong. I'm sitting here telling a professional she's wrong. I was like, I don't like those colors. Those characteristics don't fit me. That's not who I am. And I told her, I'll wear what you tell me to for a week to prove you wrong. Well, in less than an hour, I realized I was wrong. So that weekend kind of shifted, not kind of, that weekend shifted my life in several ways. Not only did I get my colors done and realize I was showing up as a water and I'm a fire. So, what does water do to fire?
Burns it out.
So I was extinguishing myself. It was like I was walking around saying, I really want to connect with you because I couldn't understand why people could only connect with me on a surface level. I was like, how come nobody actually sees the depths of me? Because I was hiding in plain sight with the colors I was wearing. I didn't know that at the time. So, anyway, I also became a speaker that weekend. They told me when I got there, "Oh, you're going to give a 5-minute talk on day 3." And I was like, "No, I'm not." Like, I'm not a speaker. I don't want to be a speaker. Well, here I am, a speaker and now an image consultant as well. The woman who typed me told me, as we all went shopping in a big group, after I picked out my clothes to try on, I started helping the other girls pick out things in their element. And it was brand new to me, but it just made sense. Like, it clicked in my brain. And she pulled me aside and said, you have an eye for this and you really need to let me train you. I was like, no, I don't have any desire to do this. I'm concentrating on my writing. So it took a little over a year and several times of her telling me that before I was finally like, fine, train me. And the only reason I agreed was because I got tired of paying her to type my family and friends. I was like, if I do the training, then I can just type them and be done with it. Still had no intention of doing this as a business. The guy that I was working for, I was at a live event, one of his events, and they had a thing called the Shark Attack, where entrepreneurs and coaches who were doing very well in business would sit up on the panel, and newer people could come and pitch their business or what they were promoting in hopes that these entrepreneurs would promote them to their email lists. And we weren't getting that many applicants. So I asked the owners, like, hey, would it be okay if I threw my hat in the ring with this new thing that I have? Again, I didn't intend to go full in on the business. I just wanted to reimburse myself for the training. I was like, this would be the perfect way to do that. Just a few clients and I'm good. Well, things again had their way of working out that I did not know about that time. I ended up sharing what I was doing, got some great feedback. They basically told me, you need a little more, we need to see a little more before we're willing to promote you. But what really changed for me was I got a couple of clients from the audience, but more important than that, I had a few different people come to me, particularly this one woman, and she said, "What you said up there changed my life." And I was like, okay, like I was just being me and sharing, like some of the things I've been through and my philosophies and whatnot. And she said she's an overweight woman, which I'm a bigger girl as well. And she was saying basically how she can't love herself because she doesn't deserve that because she's bigger than she should be and just things of that nature. And like she told me, I need to lose 100 more pounds, but I just lost 40, but I still need. I was like, whoa, slow down. Like, losing 40 pounds is a beautiful act of kindness to your body when you're that large because of the pressure it takes off of your back and your joints and whatnot. And please understand, I'm not judging. I'm not like preaching weight loss or anything like that. I believe you should love the body you're in. I believe that every body deserves love as is. Now, am I a proponent for being the healthiest you possible? Absolutely. And however you look today, you deserve love today, not when you lose that 20 pounds or when you fix your nose or when you gain 10 pounds. None of that. You deserve love today, right now. So anyway, I told her, if you're not willing to hold space for yourself, I'll hold space for you until you can. And she looked at me really funny. We got into this conversation because she didn't want to take the group photo because we were all wearing company shirts and she didn't believe that she would fit into any of them. So I found one and that's where the conversation started. And I told her, please don't hide. Like, she's doing incredible things in the world. And if you're hiding, how are you going to help people? How are you going to be seen? Right? Like, this community and everyone I've met through this community has very powerful things they're trying to do to impact the world and make this world a better place. But if I walked up to you and said, I want to help feed, hungry children, like, it's going to be really hard to connect and make that happen, right? You've got to be seen to make the impact you were put here to make. And I know this because I went through this.
Powerful story. And I had the pleasure of hearing it when we had our first conversation, but to hear it over again with still the same passion as this is what I lived through and this is what I have to share. And I know you had apologized earlier about saying, I know I'm all over the place, but it's going to make sense. that's life. We have so many different opportunities that it's okay to say, hey, this is not working, let me jump into the next one. And you also talked about resistance. You didn't say it, but you were resisting the blessing that someone was trying to bless you with, that you didn't even know you needed. And that's just beautiful all in itself, to be aware and to be able, and it's with your own timing. Yes, you could have jumped on it, the opportunity, sooner. Yes, you could have been ahead of the game, but it was still within your timing. But there was some resistance. Yes, you could have done it sooner. All of that is what real entrepreneurs right now are going through. So thank you for sharing and hitting all those pain points and highlighting that it's never going to be a smooth ride in this journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. So part of it was I didn't have any desire at that time to do this. I was like, no, like I really wanted to concentrate on my writing, which I can still do. The big part was I didn't fully believe in the power of the energy of color at that time. What transpired was in less than 6 months, my income more than doubled. My relationships with family, friends, colleagues, and clients strengthened. Strangers in the street treated me different. More important, though, I felt more like myself than I've ever felt in my life. And I didn't put it all together that it was simply changing the colors I was wearing. So when I had her type other people, my mom is a business coach who's been in the industry for almost 2 decades. And I paid for her to type my mom and didn't tell my mom. So when they got on a call, my mom was like, oh no, when I lose weight, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you're the one that told me that to deny a part of your self-love is to deny yourself love in whole. So you saying that is denying your self-love. And she was like, I hate it when you throw my words back at me. Well, that's okay. You're a mom, get used to it. My kids do that to me too. But when she got typed and I saw the change in her, I was like, oh, it's not just me. And then I started watching the change in other people. And as I started watching the income change and the confidence change and the relationships change and the impact change, I was like, okay, all right, there's something to this, right? So it was also seeing the proof around me. And at the time, I didn't realize how much of a gift I had for this. So now I realize like I can see people and I don't know what element they are when I see them, but sometimes I know what they're not. What I mean by that is there are certain colors of like lipstick or clothing that if certain people, like certain elements wear the wrong color, I can tell right away it's the wrong color. Not always, but sometimes it just jumps out at me and I'm like, oh God, I could help that person. And with what I do, it's not something I can just it's not something I feel right. Just walking up to someone like, you really need my help. I feel like that's could create a whole new set of self-image issues. And
Mhm.
I absolutely do not want to contribute to anyone's self-image issues. We have enough of that in the world. So I'm very careful with what I say, how I say it, and how I work, because I don't want to give you a complex you didn't already have or further deepen one that you have. So again, everybody deserves love right where they're at, right as they are.
That is absolutely beautiful, because a lot of times we are prejudging, like at the moment, like it's, going through all these things, and we listen, we're observant, right? We're hearing what people are saying to themselves when we know we don't see that in them, that there's so much. And I love that you say begin with loving yourself now, at the moment, no matter what's going on around you, no matter what the chaos, the noise, you need to love yourself. And that's so important. Like self-image has been a huge part of our mental health and our society, and losing people that didn't even get a chance to start their lives. So just what society has showed us, with this, to have someone that is going outside of the box and stepping into self image and really identifying where someone really shines. And I just love color anyway. My favorite's blue, but my logo's like purple and pink. You see all of that here, but color is just beautiful. It represents something, and unfortunately we don't get a book or a guide on that, and I'm sure there's so much behind it. It's worth it is worth like tapping into that, especially when you want growth. And we also talked about like evidence, right? You seen the change, so you were now collecting data, you were analyzing like, wow, this there's more to this than what I'm seeing right at this very moment. And you went and you tested it out and you got the evidence, and you still kind of were a little eerie. Tell us about the transition of um when you fully engaged and you said, you know what, I'm totally ready. Like, this is what I need to be doing.
So it clicked fully when right after that event where I was able to present it. Right after that, the two companies that I was working with decided to go in a different direction and concentrate on a different company. So there wasn't really a need for my services anymore. And I was like, okay, so now what? Like I drove Uber full time for 3 years in Vegas. I was like, I enjoy it and I don't really want to go back to that. Like I'd been in a car accident. So sitting in the car for that many hours a day is not really conducive to my health at this point. So I was like, okay, all right. Between that and the feedback at that event after I spoke, I was like, maybe I'm supposed to go in this direction because I know that people that I've encountered throughout my life, when I'm able to speak to them and like identify where they might not love themselves, it's not as simple as saying just love yourself, right? We've all heard that, and a lot of us don't know how. So I can walk you through finding just one thing about yourself that you think is okay. And we concentrate on that, and then it gets bigger. I've done that even before this, just talking to people, right? Figuring out different things or pointing out a different way to look at it when you feel like your life is over. Sometimes there's a different perspective that can help change that. So I knew I could make an impact to help people see themselves differently, which then you see the world differently. And it kind of all clicked together that this was the tool that I could use to make that impact. So that's kind of what happened is a friend of mine says the universal whisper, and if
Hmm.
or the higher power will whisper. And if you don't listen, there'll be a little nudge. And if you don't listen, there'll be a shove. And if you still don't listen, it's going to beat you over the head with a 2x4. I was at that 2x4 moment. Looking back, like I had things that pointed to this direction going back into high school, even. Like I took fashion design class because I needed an extra elective. I won first place in the state of California for fashion merchandise for a club called DECA. It was my second competition. I knew nothing. My instructor knew nothing. We were brand new. And California is a very big state. There were a lot of students, in that competition. So looking back, like I didn't even pinpoint that as something that would ever be important. I was just like, okay, whatever. I dismissed it like it meant nothing. But looking at all of these little stones, it led to this path that I'm supposed to be on. So it was kind of at that moment where I was like, all right, I'm all in. Let's see where this goes. And it's been a couple of years. And I can tell you that every time someone I've worked with comes to me and tells me something new, like not just the income. We all want more income, more impact. Like that's great. But when they come to me and say, like, I'm not afraid to be seen anymore, or I have never felt this good about myself, like those things are powerful to me. But I know that a lot of people don't realize that they're missing that until they have it. I did it. So for right now, like let's get started on, focusing on your impact and your income and how you show up and making sure that your presence matches your presentation, like what you say and what they see aligns, because color does hold energy. Something you said um, about prejudging, like a lot of us have heard the Harvard Business Study statistic that it takes 3 to 7 seconds to make a first impression. You haven't even said anything in the first 3 to 7 seconds, right? So people are making first impressions of you without even knowing anything. And as entrepreneurs, we're aware of how much marketing and the budget that you have for marketing, right? Like the average business puts 12% of their sales or income back into marketing. A lot of entrepreneurs forget the biggest billboard they have.
Themselves.
Yep.
Yep. You
So
see?
you think about the colors of your logos and all of these things, you are your biggest billboard. So
Yeah.
when you wear the colors that naturally and energetically align with you, they amplify who you are, your message, and everything else. Like I choose my colors very carefully, particularly when I'm on stage or doing a podcast or something like that, or meeting with potential new clients. I wear one of my flesh tones because that opens my heart and it tells you, it lets you subconsciously receive the message. I'm not hiding anything. I walk my talk. And if I mess up, I'm going to tell you I mess up. Like I'm very transparent about all of that. I don't have time to hide and play games and do all those things anymore. Like that's exhausting. And I live a peaceful
No.
life at this point.
Yeah.
So I wear my flesh tone to open my heart to you. And then the teal, which teal looks good on everyone, but that's one of my quote unquote power colors. When I say power colors, it's not the traditional like corporate power colors. Like everyone needs a gray and navy and black suit. No, you don't. No, not everyone looks great in those colors. I do not look great in any of those colors, but everyone has colors that make them stand out. Everyone has colors that help them soften their energy and relax their energy. Everyone has a shade of red. You hear people say either I look great in red or I look awful in red. You need to know the shade of red. And red
Mhm.
is an amplifier, right? It's a powerful color. It increases emotion, it increases passion. It can give confidence, like the appearance or the energy of confidence. That's if you're in the right red. It's a very powerful color. If you're in the wrong red, it's like you're walking around screaming at everyone.
Mm.
So energetically, we subconsciously pick up on things. Like if you've heard on the news after a con artist gets found out, they'll say like, "Oh, I knew there was something off. I couldn't put my finger on it." When we're wearing colors that are not aligned with us, that's the message you're giving out is something isn't right.
Mm.
Have you ever noticed, like, if you're at an event and there's different speakers, there's certain speakers, it doesn't matter what the content is. Certain speakers, even if you know nothing about their subject, you'll be like, I need more of this person. Like you lean in. And then other speakers, you might love that person or be excited about their talk or really want to learn from them. And you're just like, I can't connect. Like something is off. Usually we don't think about it like that. But if you start paying attention to how you feel about different speakers or how you lean in and don't, it's probably because there's something off, which could be as simple as their colors and they just don't know.
Wow. I'm going to start paying more attention when I see people on stages and seeing how I can connect. That is a writer downer. So if you are listening, and also when you're on stage, what is the feedback that you're getting? Are you making more connections? Are you still at a standstill? Or are people like kind of backing up, right? So all of that matters. Just such a great topic, such an interesting different way to view and really be able to find another level of how can I grow, how can I continue to make impact, because so many people have so much to say and it's not going to the masses where like I know people personally that are just amazing, and maybe they don't know this exists, right? This color imaging exists, and they don't know that they need it, and then they're wondering, why am I not getting the results I'm looking for? So
Mhm.
thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to take a quick moment. We're going to dive more deep into what Amy has going on and how you can get a hold of her when we come right back.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line. And of course, grow your circle and your network like never before. This is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Welcome back. We are here with Amy. And actually, Amy, you're in Las Vegas, right?
I am.
Well, that was our first Empower to Inspire event that was done last year in 2023 in May. And we are kicking off our tour of that same type of event in Las Vegas, May of 2025. So we need to connect and definitely do some amazing things together. But tell us, what do you have going on right now?
Right now, I am continuing to work with people one-on-one and in a group setting. I do have a group course, so it's kind of funny you said you don't get a guide on this. Well, when you work with me, you do. I have a guide for each element that breaks down your colors, your shapes, your necklines. There's so much more to it. And it's not like the traditional like color analysis. Like there's a lot of, I have to take this side note because education. There's a lot of hype around like using AI to get your colors done, or the traditional like spring, summer, fall, like whatever seasonal color palette. And that's great. Like if you need to do something, start there. The system that I use and have kind of developed, I've been studying different systems, putting things together. It goes deeper than just your eyes, skin, and hair. So I look at the shape of your facial features. I have you do specific hand movements to see how you naturally move your hands. And I look at your core characteristics. It goes back to childhood. I'll ask questions like, did you walk on your tippy toes as a child? Were you a rebellious teenager? Things like that. Do you prefer like a rigid schedule, or do you like to be spontaneous? Those kinds of questions. All of that paints a picture where we discover your primary element, and that tells us the colors that work for you. Because animals in nature have their own colors, right? They're born with them. They're natural to them. They're in alignment. We put our colors on because it's frowned upon to walk around naked in our society. So we get to choose our colors. And a lot of times we're choosing colors that don't align because we don't know any better. And because my theory is, as children, we might have been told or understood that you're too much of this, you're not enough of this, you need to be more of this. So we spend most of our lives battling that internally, trying to be good enough, trying to hide the bad parts of us. And in reality, we typically end up hiding our gifts. Like children who might have been told you talk too much or you're too loud, their gift might be speaking. And they might not be doing that because they won't give themselves permission, because internally they think it's bad and they want to cover it. So a subconscious way to do that is wear colors that help you hide. So I just went on a tangent and now I don't remember the original question. I'm so sorry.
That is okay. That happens here. It is okay. We embrace that. This, like I said, it's all about the hot, open, transparent call, honest, open, transparent call. But it's a great point that you brought that up, because when we're told as a child to just be quiet or speak when you're spoken to, it's like if you're not being spoken to, that means you're never going to be the initiator of conversation. You're going to wait for someone to speak to you, and then you're wondering why things are not moving because you cannot pick up that phone. You can't go on that live. You can't get in a room where there's going to be all the answers that you need for your growth and abundance. So thank you for bringing that up, because that's what happens here. You speak exactly what you're supposed to say. Definitely. Um, so how can people get a hold of you? Where can they find you? Give us any handles, websites, all that good stuff.
So the website is embodyyourelement.com. So EMBODYYOURELEMENT.com. My email is amy@embodyyourelement.com. So AMY and @embodyyourelement.com. On Facebook, Amy Janece, JANECE. Instagram, I think it's amy.janece. So basically you can find me, if you go to the website, there'll be links to my social media and everything from there as well. So the website, I guess, is the catch-all. You can find everything there.
Awesome. Awesome. So definitely connect, rewind this if you have to, write it down, make sure that you are in connection with Amy. If any and all of this resonated with you, because I know it has with me. And it's a very unique way. I've never heard of this since before I've spoken to you, and I'm definitely intrigued. And I think if we can tap into that things can change and you'll see the difference. I love that you shared that you continue to have to see it to believe it, right? A lot of people would think that, these different ways of coaching and really identifying when you don't know yourself, it's hard to really flourish in this entrepreneurial space, no matter what gift you have. It's doable, but if you want to cut out the time in between, connecting with coaches and just amazing people that are doing amazing things that help drive that out of you, just like Amy herself. So I'm going to give you a few more minutes. Just tell us what is on your heart. What do you want to say to our audience?
Okay, so one, I don't want to forget to leave you with this. There are 4 colors that look great on everyone, and I'll gladly share 2 right now. That is teal, like a true teal, and eggplant, that deep dark purple. So those are 2 of the colors that look great on everyone. So if you're not sure what colors look good on you and you want to be seen, try those 2 colors. With that being said, speaking doesn't mean just from stage. If you're training people, if you're having one-on-one conversations, if you're on Zoom, if you're on Facebook Live, all of these things are speaking. So if you're doing these things and you want deeper connections and you want deeper impact, and of course that means you're going to increase your income, get your colors done. Like, learn this. Most of us don't know how deep we can go within ourselves to know ourselves until we know, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. So get your colors done, start there. My biggest core message that I would love to share with you is you are a masterpiece and you deserve to be framed as such. Your clothes are simply the frame. You are the masterpiece. You should be highlighted because who you are and what you do matters. So please know that. Please know that you are seen and you matter. And that's the biggest message. And if you're having a hard time believing that because of all the filters and, surgical enhancements and everything else that we see every day in our society, if for whatever reason you don't feel like you can measure up or you don't feel beautiful or you don't feel seen or whatever the case may be, I would like to challenge you to look in the mirror every morning and every night. This is going to seem very weird at first, but look at yourself in the mirror, connect with yourself in your eyes, and compliment yourself on at least 1 to 3 things. It could be the same thing every day, morning and night, doesn't matter. I love your eyes. I love you. I love your eyes. You can do that. Like, or you could say, I love your eyes 3 times, but talk to yourself, look yourself in the eye, do it every morning and every night for 30 days. I guarantee you'll feel better than ever before, and other people will notice. I can tell you one of my clients met me for lunch at an event, and there was a mutual friend there who hadn't seen him in a while, one of his mentors. And he walked up to him and was like, "Oh my God, you look great. You look like you've lost like 30 pounds." And he said, "I haven't lost any weight. I just changed my shirt, like Amy said." So when you start to feel better about yourself, amazing things happen and other people see you differently too. So love yourself. You are a masterpiece. You
Yes.
deserve to be framed as such.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And you said something very, um, very powerful for me because I've created the Nikki method, right? So cheesy, right? Just use my name as an acronym because I seen someone else do it and I'm like, oh, I want one too. So why not? Right. And just splash Nikki on it. So it's really nurturing inner confidence by knowing yourself. And it's like, that is like my goal. So just to see that synergy and what you have to offer, I just can't wait to see what we can do together. Thank you so much for blessing us with this new perspective of just growing and really finding your color, your element that's going to take you to the next level. Definitely connect with Amy. Amy, it has been a pleasure chatting with you. We will stay connected. Thank you all for listening to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. And as I always say, make it count. Talk to you guys very soon. Have a great one.